Hello students, welcome to ITLS Academy. In this lecture, we will be discussing about the modules and terminologies in the pharmacovigilance. So students, in the last lectures, we discussed about the module 1, 2 and 3, and in this lecture, we will be discussing about the module 4, 5 and 6 and the terminologies which are used in the pharmacovigilance. So this module 4, that is quality management system at Maha organization, it contains the guidance for establishment and maintenance of quality assured PV system for Mahas for performing their PV activities. Maha shall establish and use quality systems that are adequate and effective for the performance of pharmacovigilance activities. This guidance document implies to all Mahas who hold marketing authorization to manufacture or import of pharmaceutical products in Indian market. So let's discuss about the structures and processes covered in module 4. First of all comes the pharmacovigilance system. A pharmacovigilance system is defined as a system used by MAHA to fulfill its legal tasks and responsibilities in relation to pharmacovigilance and designed to monitor the safety of pharmaceutical products approved by appropriate licensing authorities in India and to detect any change to their benefit risk balance. This system should cover MAHA's organizational structure, that is, organogram describing PV personnel's roles and responsibilities, procedures, processes, and resources of the PV system, as well as appropriate resource management, compliance management, and record management. Then comes the quality cycle of pharmacovigilance system. The quality system shall be based on the following activities, that is quality planning. Quality planning covers establishment of the structures and planning integrated and consistent processes. Then comes the quality adherence, in which comes the carrying out tasks and responsibilities in accordance with quality requirement. Then comes the quality control and assurance, monitoring and evaluating how effectively the structures and processes have been established and how effectively the processes are being carried out. Then comes the quality improvement, means correcting and improving the structures and processes wherever necessary. Then comes the quality objectives for pharmacovigilance. The overall quality objectives of a pharmacovigilance system are compiling with the legal requirements for pharmacological tasks and responsibilities, preventing harm from adverse events in humans arising from the use of approved pharmaceutical product within or outside the terms of marketing authorization or from occupational exposure, promoting the safe and effective use of pharmaceutical products, in particular through providing timely information about the safety of pharmaceutical product to patients and the public, contributing to the protection of patients and public health. Then comes the responsibilities for the quality system within an organization. Mahas shall have a sufficient number of competent and appropriately qualified and trained personnels for the performance of pharmacovigilance activities, and for this purpose, or you can say a purpose of a systematic approach towards quality in accordance with the quality cycle, managerial staff in organization should be responsible for ensuring that the organizational documents the quality system, ensuring that the documents describing the quality system are subjected to document control in relation to their creation, revision, approval, and implementation, ensuring that adequate resources are available and that training is provided, ensuring that the suitable and sufficient premises, facilities, and equipments are available, ensuring adequate compliance management, ensuring adequate record management, ensuring that audits are performed, and they should assign roles, responsibilities, and authorities to the staff members according to their competencies, and communicating and implementing these throughout the organization. Then another thing that covered in this module is training of Maha personals for pharmacovigilance. So all the personals involved in the performance of pharmacovigilance activities, they shall receive initial and continued training, and this training this should relate to their roles and responsibilities, and it should start within 1 month of joining, And the organization should keep training plans and records for documentation, maintaining and developing the competence of personals very ready. And this training plan should be based on training needs assessment and should be subject to monitoring. Then comes the facilities and equipments. So to achieve the required quality for the conduct of pharmacovigilance processes and their outcome is also intrinsically linked with appropriate facility and equipment used to support the process. The facilities and equipment should include the office space, the IT system, and storage space, and they should be located, designed, constructed, adapted, and maintained to suit their intended purpose in line with the quality objectives for pharmacovigilance. Then comes the monitoring of the performance and effectiveness of pharmacovigilance system and its quality system. In this come the reviews of the system by the responsible authorities, audits, compliance monitoring, inspections, evaluating the effectiveness of the action taken with pharmaceutical product for purpose of minimizing risk and supporting their safe and effective use in patients. Then comes the next module, that is audit and inspection of pharmacovigilance system at Maha organization. So students, this module basically it provides insight into planning, conducting, reporting and follow up of pharmacovigilance inspection by regulatory authorities or officials responsible for inspection to improve or to assure pharmacovigilance as per pharmacovigilance document for Mahas in India. And what are the objective of this audits and inspections? They are done with an objective to verify the examination and by evidence the appropriateness and effectiveness of the implementation and operation of the PV system, including its quality system for PV activities, to find evidence and help evaluating the evidence objectively to determine the extent to which the audit criteria are fulfilled and contributing to the improvement, control, and governance of pharmacovigilance processes. And these inspections, they should broadly the cover the following, that is to assess and establish that the Maha has qualified personnels, robust systems and facilities to conduct pharmacovigilance activities, to identify, record and address non-compliance which may pose a risk to public health, to take regulatory action wherever considered necessary based on the results of the inspection. And the results of an inspection will be provided to the inspected entity, who will be given the opportunity to comment on any non-compliance if identified, and any non-compliance should also be rectified by the Maha within the 3 month through the implementation of the plan. And these inspections, they are mainly of two types, that is the routine inspections or the targeted inspection. And these routine inspections are usually the system inspections. The focus of these inspection is to determine that the Maha has personnel, system and facilities in place to meet their regulatory pharmacovigilance obligation for the marketed pharmaceutical products in India. These inspections will be prioritized based on the potential risk to public health, the nature of the product, the extent of use, number of products that the Maha has in Indian market. Then comes the targeted inspection. Such type of inspection may be conducted as and when there is trigger and the regulatory authority determines that inspection is the appropriate way. Triggering factors for such type of inspection may be the continuous delay or omission or poor quality reporting, failure to provide the requested information or data within the deadline specified by the regulatory authorities, and delays in the implementation or inappropriate implementation of the compliance reports, sudden product withdrawal. And this inspection procedure, it's done with proper planning, and it should also be considered about the organization which needs to be inspected, and it should also give the guidelines about what procedures should be taken. And these inspection findings should also be mentioned in the the report, and this will be made available to the pharmacovigilance department of the Maha. So these inspection findings are of three type, like critical, major or minor. Fundamental weakness in critical contains the fundamental weakness in the pharmacovigilance system or practices that adversely deviate from the pharmacovigilance regulation or affect the rights and safety of patients or pose potential risk to public health. Then comes the major findings. It's a significant weakness in one or more pharmacovigilance process or practices or a fundamental weakness in part of one or more pharmacovigilance processes. Then comes the minor inspection finding. It's a weakness in the part of one or more pharmacovigilance processes or practices that is not expected to adversely affect the whole pharmacovigilance process or safety or well-being of the patients. Then let's discuss about the next, or we can say the last module in the pharmacovigilance guidelines, that is the summation of risk management plan. So what actually is risk management plan? It's a document that describes the risks, or we can say the adverse drug reactions or potential adverse reactions associated with the use of a drug and how they are being handled. That is warning on drug label or on packet inserts of possible side effects which if observed should cause the patient to inform or see his physician or pharmacist or the manufacturer of the drug. And why there is a need for this risk management plan? At the time of authorization, information on the safety of a medicine is relatively limited. And why this is limited? This is limited due to the limitation of clinical trials respect to particular medicinal product. And it also are due to relatively small number of subjects in the clinical trials compared with the intended treatment population, restricted population in terms of age, gender or ethnicity, restricted comorbidity, restricted co-medication, restricted conditions of use, or relatively short duration of exposures and follow-up, statistical problems associated with assessing many different outcomes. Then comes the aim of risk management plan. So the overall aim of risk management is to ensure that the benefits of a particular medicinal product exceed the risk by the greatest achievable margin for the individual patient and for the target population as a whole. And then you must be wondering that what are the objectives of a risk management plan? With which objective this has been structured, this risk management plan. So the objectives are to identify or characterize the safety profile of the pharmaceutical product concerned, indicate how to characterize further the safety profile of the medicinal product concerned, document measures to prevent or minimize the risk associated with the medicinal product including an assessment of the effectiveness of those interventions, document post authorization obligations, or you can say post marketing obligations that have been imposed as a condition of the marketing authorization. Then let's discuss about the content of the risk management plan. What actually is there in the risk management plan? So first of all comes the pharmaceutical product review. So the MAHA should provide the information regarding the active substances of the product or the administrative information in the risk management plan. Then comes the safety specification. Safety specification includes the epidemiology of the indication and targeted population, non-clinical part of safety specification, clinical trial exposure, population non studied in the clinical trial. So we have to give reasons that why that particular population have not been included or why only a limited number of persons from the targeted population has been considered for a particular study. So it should all be there in the risk management plan. Identified and potential risk of a particular medicinal product, summary of safety concerns. So in the end of the risk management plan, summary of all the safety concerns should be given. Then information should be on the pharmacovigilance activities which has been carried out in the organization, which involve to identify a new safety concern or further characterization of known safety concern or investigation of potential safety concern if it's real or not. Then comes the risk minimization activities. So this risk minimization activities should be done and in this objectives are activity it should This risk management plan should indicate the objectives of the risk minimization activities, risk minimization activities, additional risk minimization activities if any, and individual objectives or justification if required, and what the target is for risk minimization, that is what are the criteria for judging the success. And then comes the milestones for evaluating and reporting. Students, now let's discuss about the various terminologies which are being used in this pharmacovigilance process. So, abuse or drug abuse. Drug abuse, it's a persistent or sporadic intentional excessive use of medicinal product which is accompanied by harmful physical or psychological effects. Then acknowledgement message. The acknowledgement message, it is the information provided to acknowledge one's safety message and the safety report contained in the safety file of this message exchanged between one sender and one receiver in one transaction. Then comes the adverse reaction or adverse drug reactions. We have discussed this term in our first lecture in details, but now I will explain you its definition once again. Adverse reaction means a response to a medicinal product which is noxious and unintended and which occurs at doses normally used in man for the prophylaxis, diagnosis or therapy of disease or for the restoration, correction or modification of physiological function. Adverse event, any undesirable experience occurring following administration of a medicinal product. An adverse event does not necessarily have a causal relationship with the treatment. Then comes case safety report. A case safety report, it's a document which provides the most complete information related to an individual case available at a certain point of time. Then what is healthcare professional? So for the purpose of reporting the suspected adverse reaction, healthcare professionals are identified as physicians, dentists, pharmacists, nurses and other coroners. And when reports originate from healthcare professionals other than these like physicians and dentists, then further information about the case should be obtained from a medically qualified persons if possible. Then what is individual case? So is individual case is the information provided to describe suspected adverse drug reactions related to the administration of one or more medicinal product to an individual patient or to one or more animal. Then listed adverse drug reaction. An adverse reaction whose nature, severity, specificity and outcome are consistent with the information in the company code safety information. It is called as listed adverse drug reaction. Then comes the post authorization safety study. So post authorization safety study means a pharmacoepidemiological study or a clinical trial carried out in accordance with the terms of marketing authorization, and it is conducted with the aim of identifying or qualifying a safety hazard relating to an authorized medicinal product. Then comes the reportable adverse reaction. A reportable adverse reaction requires the following minimum information: an identifiable healthcare professional reporter. The reporter can be identified by either name or initial or address or qualification. An identifiable patient. The patient can be identified by initial or patient name, number or date of birth or sex, and the information should be as complete as possible, and it should contain at least one suspected substance or a medicinal product, at least one suspected adverse reaction. Then comes the reporter. The reporter is the primary source of the information, that is a person who initially reports the facts. This should be distinguished from the sender of the message through the report could also be a sender. Safety message file. The safety message file, it is the electronic file transmitted in one transaction between one sender and one receiver containing one safety message. Then what is sender? The sender is the person or an entity creating the message for transmission. Although the reporter and the sender may be the same person, the function of the sender should not be confused with that of the reporter. Then comes the serious adverse reactions. Serious adverse reaction means an adverse reaction which resulted in death, or it is life threatening, or it requires inpatient hospitalization or prolongation of existing hospitalization, or results in persistent or significant disability or incapacity, or is congenital anomaly or a birth defect. Then comes the spontaneous report or spontaneous notification. So what actually it is? A communication to a company, regulatory authority, or other organization that describes a suspected adverse drug reaction in a patient given one or more medicinal product and which does not derive from a study. Then comes the unexpected adverse reaction. So unexpected adverse reaction means an adverse reaction, the nature, severity or outcome of which is not consistent with the summary of product characteristics. Then comes the unlisted adverse reaction. An adverse reaction which is not specifically included as suspected adverse effect in the company core safety information. This includes an adverse reaction whose nature, severity, specificity, or outcome is not consistent with the information in the CCSI. It also includes, the class related reactions which are mentioned in the CCSI but which are not specifically described as occurring with this particular product. So, students, that's all for today's lecture. I hope you all understands about the modules and different terminologies which we deals in pharmacovigilance. Thank you so much.